predator preferences. Welcome back to Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. This is your host, Jay Is, and today we are going to discuss predator preferences. What do I mean by predator preferences? If we take a look in society, we will find that one behavior by an individual would be considered predatory. That same behavior by a different individual will be altogether discarded and in some cases applauded. How did I get to this topic today? I got to this topic from a Instagram post that I came across of Beyonce and Jay-Z. It was a clip from the old MTV show TRL. And Carson Daly, the host of that show, was asking Beyonce and Jay-Z how they met. Now, interestingly enough, the video itself was, its standard clip. But where you find the most insightful information is going to be in the comment section. The comments in this video indicated a much bigger problem in society, and I will make my case in just a moment. Now, before we start getting into the video, I just want to say I do not condone anybody's actions. I don't know any of these individuals that we will speak about today. I don't know what led these individuals to make the choices they've made. I am just here to give an objective view on how these behaviors and the reactions to these behaviors affect society, affect our community, and what we can do to move forward in a more positive direction. Now let's take a listen at the audio of Jay-Z and Beyonce answering Carson Daly's question about when they met and how they met.
Let's get right into it. How did two of the biggest names in music even meet?
Well, we met a long time ago. Award shows, a lot of different performances.
And at what point did the conversation come, hey, do you want to do some music?
You know how people, you see each other and you respect each other's music. You know, it's always that conversation, we gotta do something. You know that.
Right.
The time filler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When that time filler turns into something real, then it's music.
That was Jay-Z and Beyonce answering Carson Daly about when they met and how they met. Now, when we get into the comment section, this is where things get very interesting. And I'm going to start at the top here at Lovely T. This says, this a full-grown man dating a teen. I feel like he going to get exposed like R. Kelly and Diddy. Now, right off the bat, you have this man being put in a realm of R. Kelly and Diddy. R. Kelly being one man who was convicted, Diddy being another man who has yet to have his day in court, and you have this commenter throwing Jay-Z in the pot who nothing has come out negatively on his behalf concerning this relationship with his wife. And I'm going to drop down here to Aaliyah 2218. She was 15/16. He groomed Beyonce. Wow. SMFH. She was 15 and 16 /16. She was 15/16 when? When was she 15 and 16? Are you saying that he was with her when she was 15 and 16? And if so, where is that information? Where do we get that information? Where is the information saying that he was with this woman when she was a 15 or 16-year-old teenager? We don't have that, right? So we're throwing these narratives out. And again, am I saying he was or wasn't? No, I am. Again, let me just make this clear, crystal clear. I am not condoning anyone's behavior. I don't know these people. I don't know what made these people make the choices that they've made in their lives. I'm just simply here to give an objective opinion. Now, Sarah J. PG says, yeah, she got groomed. He's 33. She's 21 here. You can tell how young-minded she was in this clip. Nasty. Which one is it? Was she 15, 16, or was she 21? Now I want you guys to hold this in your memory banks because we're going to come back to this. It says he's 33 and she's 21. That's nasty. That's nasty. So down here you have Needlich 87. He says, "How did Matthew let this happen? She was young." How did Matthew let this happen? She was young. Matthew being Matthew knows Beyonce's father. And we're going to get back to that because that is very interesting comment. And he says she was young. Young can mean a lot of things. He didn't put a age on it, as if being young, as if a man wanting a young woman is somehow a problem. Okay. Now let's get over here and look at some more of these comments. Buns the boss says she was a minor. That's why they were being so secretive. Laughing emojis. She was a minor. Okay, was she a minor when they met? Remember, Destiny's Child was a teenage R&B group. They work in the same industry. I'm sure they met him and met a whole lot of other people. Meeting somebody at a certain age is not indicative of any sexual deviance. They're in the same industry. They do the same work. I'm sure that not only did he meet her, he met him, he met them, she met him, she met her, she met them. If you get what I'm saying. So to imply that because someone met somebody at a certain age that something inappropriate was going on is just speculation. Once again. Now let's get down here to Stacy Collins 354. She says, OMG, get over it, people. They've been married for years and years. Have 3 kids together. He's 12 years older than her. So what? So you finally get somebody who came in here and spoke with some sense. Somebody came in and spoke with some sense, and we're going to get back to that sentiment later. Okay, we'll get back to that sentiment later. We will come back to this Matthew Knowles thing. We will come back to this. They have 3 kids together. They've been married for years. Get over it. And we will come back to this. He was 33 and she was 21. Now you may say, well, why are we going back to it? Let's just get to it now. It's not that simple. It is just not that simple. We need to come back to that. Now, let's move on. Why do we need to come back from that? Come back to that? Because I want to present to you another young man who is being crucified for his relationship with his wife. And that is going to be a one Marcus Houston. Now, Marcus Houston is he was a childhood star. He was in an R&B group, and he was a main character on the show Sister Sister. And Marcus Houston a few years ago met and married his wife Mia Dickey, and when he married her, she was 19 years old. Now, when Marcus Houston married Mia, and excuse me if I'm not saying her name properly, there was a media storm behind it, and people had their opinions on it, like people have their opinions on everything else. But one podcast in particular made a video that went, it had some traction. And there are 2 ladies on the podcast, and they are expressing their feelings on, their opinions on Marcus Houston's relationship with his wife. Let's take a listen to that.
When I met my wife, she was 17. We had no really conversation and no really connection until she was of age. When we did finally start to talk, I was like, this woman is like me. We both love God.
Get the fuck out of here. Any 36-year-old man who says he saw himself and had so much in common with a 17-year-old girl, they haven't paid a goddamn bill but their cell phone in their life. They probably still live with their parents. You saw it when she was underage, otherwise you wouldn't have spun the block. You nasty ass man. You nasty man. Young ladies who are 21 and younger. Any man who is above 30 years old, who is not your father, does not have your best interest as their number one priority. I implore you, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how advanced you are, these men are predators. Any man that will hide behind a veil of God to justify his pursuit of you at that young, tender, vulnerable age is a fucking liar.
So there you go. That was their stance on Marcus Houston's relationship. And to put things in perspective, Marcus Houston is, I believe, 19 years older than his wife. Okay. Marcus Houston is 19 years older than his wife. And when you look at the cover for the video, you see this is extremely predatory. This is extremely predatory. So the one lady says, any man who sits up here and says that he has so much in common with a 17-year-old. Now, I didn't see the whole interview, but the clip that they showed of Marcus Houston, he did not say he had a whole lot of things in common with a 17-year-old. He said he met his wife when they were 17, when she was 17. And, he didn't begin talking to her until she was of age, and they shared a common belief, a spiritual belief in God. I did not hear him say he had a whole list of things in common with her, but that's neither here nor there. They go on to say, hey, this is a predator, and any woman age 21 or younger, if the man is above the age of 35, let me play it again and make sure I'm not saying it right.
Young ladies who are 21 and younger. Any man who is above 30 years old, who is not your father, does not have your best interest as their number one priority. I implore you, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how advanced you are, these men are predators.
She says any man that is above the age of 30, if you are 21 and younger, any man that is above the age of 30 that is interested in you does not have your best interest in mind, and they are a predator. They use terms like nasty, that he was nasty, that he is a liar if he's telling her or any man who is above the age of 30 seeking to be with someone 21 years old or younger, that they're lying to the young lady if he is saying that they have that he has her best interest in mind and at heart. So this is very important. I need you guys to really understand what we're covering, okay? Because these words and how they define these words are going to be very important. So this is extremely predatory. He is a liar. He is a predator. Okay, and they put that in the framework of age. They said, once again, if a man is 30 years old 30 years old or older, and he is pursuing a woman who is 21 years of age or younger, then he is indeed a predator, and she, the woman, should not be looking to him as a suitor, okay? Because it's dangerous for her. Now, it's it's this language that we've seen when we cover the the comment section of the Jay-Z and Beyonce video, right? You have the same thing where the young lady said, well, he was 33 and she was 21, that it was nasty. And we see these words nasty again. We come up with these ages of 20 and a man being in his 30s. So you see this narrative just playing out. And all of this is very, very important. It's very important. And so Marcus Houston and Jay-Z, they are living similar social judgments. And if we go on Marcus Houston's Wikipedia, let's check out his Wikipedia, Marcus Houston's Wikipedia. Because you find something, you have these judgments that are upon these men that they can never get away from. Okay, they're never going to get away from uh, these this social judgment that they're having. And I say never get away from because Jay-Z, like we read in the comment section of his of that particular video, where the one commenter said, "Hey man, get over it. This was years ago." But the public does not care if it's years ago. It's something that he will always have to deal with. And what do you think? Jay-Z and Beyonce doesn't know that their marriage is, called into question in that way. Of course, they know that it's called into question in that way. So let's check out Marcus Houston, and like I said, he's living a similar reality where he will never be able to get away from this. He won't be able to get away from this because it's on the internet. And what do they do on the internet? Here you go, right here. It says in his Wikipedia, and we're going to look at his personal life section. We're going to go down to relationships under marriage and age gap controversy. And it says, in March 2019, Houston became engaged to Mia Dickey, whom he met and began dating in 2018. They were married on August 24th, 2020 in Corona, California. Houston's relationship with Dickey, who is 19 years his junior, caused social media backlash due to their age gap, with users accusing Houston of pedophilia, coercion, and predatory behavior. Although Houston defended his marriage and personal reputation, his response received more criticism and calls for the Me Too movement to cancel his entertainment career. Okay? Although Houston defended his marriage and personal reputation, his response received more criticism and calls for the Me Too movement to cancel his entertainment career. Now, this was one difference between Jay-Z and Marcus Houston. Jay-Z just ignored it. He did not address anything. Okay, he knows what's being said, and Beyonce did not address anything. Okay, but Marcus Houston felt like he needed to, take his position and let his position be known. And because he let his position be known, it received more criticism. Now, what I find very disturbing is that it says in the Me Too movement to cancel his entertainment career, to cancel the man's livelihood. People were so offended by what he did that they were calling to cancel his livelihood. So I have a question. If the man married the woman, okay, and his livelihood is used to take care of his family, who is now his wife, wouldn't that hinder his ability to care for his family? Wouldn't that negatively affect her situation? Right? To go after someone's livelihood is very serious. It is a very, very serious thing, right? Because as Marcus Houston and myself and yourself watching, your livelihood is critical for your overall survival, comfort, and happiness. And to say we're going to take that away, not only take it away from him, but all of those who are connected to him, who benefit him, like his children, right? So Then you have these other words that say pedophilia, coercion, and predatory behavior. Pedophilia. Pedophilia. Now, this is in his Wikipedia. There's no way he's not going to get away from this. No matter what, this will always be a part of his biography, right? Society has given this to him, and he will not be able to get away from this in his biography. Now, we've covered Jay-Z and Beyonce. We've covered Marcus Houston and Mia. And you may be thinking, well, hey, man, those guys have to lay in the bed that they made because they wanted women who were younger than them. Okay, cool. So let's go to a one, Drea Michelle. Drea Michelle is a model, Instagram model, reality TV actress. I really don't know too much more than that about her. She is a Instagram model and a reality TV actress. And Drea Michelle is now she's pregnant. Okay, Drea Michelle is pregnant at this point. If I'm not mistaken, she's around the time of this recording is 8 months pregnant. She's in her third trimester. Okay, so Drea Michelle is 8 months pregnant at this point. And Drea Michelle is the father of her child, her unborn child is Jalen Green. He is an NBA basketball player for the Houston Rockets. Jalen Green is 22 years old. That's how old Jalen Green is. Drea Michelle is 39 years old. Drea Michelle is 39 years old. Jalen Green is 22 years old. Now, when we looked at the parameters, and we can just pull it up again here, when we were referring to Jay-Z and Beyonce, it says that he was in his 30s and she was in her 20s. And that was nasty. Those were the words that were used. When we look at the podcast that was touching on Marcus Houston and Mia's relationship, she defined predatory behavior as any man above 30 and any woman 21 years or younger. Now, Jalen Green is 22. So you might be saying, well, he's 22. It puts him 1 year outside of these parameters that I don't know who made up, but it puts him outside the parameters. But let's just take a moment to put our thinking caps on. If Drea Michelle is 8 months pregnant, or she's in her third trimester, and Jalen Green, let's pull up his Wikipedia. It says his birthday is in February. His birthday is in February 9th to be exact. February 9th. So if she is in her third trimester, which is 6 months or more, that would mean she conceived this man's child when he was 21 years old. That would mean that she conceived his child when he was 21 years old. Now, did she meet him one night and have a baby with him within one night? I don't know, but let's give it a benefit of doubt and say that they had a relationship for at least a year before that. That would make him 20 years old. That would make him 20 years old. So if he was 20 years old and she was 37, when did she look at him to say, hey, this is a suitable person? to be with. Because if we're going to say Marcus Houston was preying on this young woman until she became of legal age, if we're going to say Jay-Z was preying on this young woman until she became legal age, what was Drea Michelle doing? What was she doing? Now, what's really interesting about this is if you go to Drea Michelle's Instagram and you go to her comment section, there's no mention of any of this. As a matter of fact, it's very much celebrated how beautiful she is, the pregnancy, the the fanfare of it all. I don't see one person typing the word predator, nasty, shameful, or any of these other terms that they threw around for Marcus Houston and Jay-Z. I don't see any of that. I see zero of that when you go on her Instagram. But we know that in society, there is a, it's a double standard when it comes to sexual abuse and sexual misconduct, where men get a heavier hammer than women. And I'm not here to cry about it. I'm not even here to say if it's wrong or right. I'm not here to justify Marcus Houston's behavior or Jay-Z's behavior and or Drea Michelle's behavior. I'm here to say, hey, there's an imbalance. And within this imbalance, it's a deeper, more sinister issue at hand. There's a deeper, more sinister issue at hand. What could I be talking about? Well, let's go back to those comments that were left under Jay-Z and Beyonce's TRL video. And let's see if we can't understand. Now, we've already called out, these age differences and how they were approached. Because Drea Michelle is 17 years older than this young man. We've already pointed those discrepancies out. As in one instance, it's extremely predatory. And then the other instance, we act like nothing is happening at all. But this comment that we're going to go back to says, hey man, she was young. How could Matthew let this happen? Matthew is Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles. Okay? To insinuate that Matthew Knowles dropped the ball on his duty of fatherhood is insane. It's absolutely insane to insinuate that this man dropped the ball on his duty as a father. If there is no Matthew Knowles, and let's make this very, very clear, there is no Beyonce Knowles. Not only on a biological level, but on a professional level. There are tons and tons of clips where Matthew has guided his daughter from childhood through adolescence to help mold her into the superstar that she is today. He has made the Knowles name a household name, so much so that his ex-wife, Tina Knowles, still carries that name now. Even after being divorced and married to another man and divorced from him, she still carries the Knowles name. The Knowles brand is so strong that Jay-Z is married to Jay-Z, whose last name is Carter, but we still call her Beyonce Knowles. So to insinuate that this man is somehow diminished has somehow diminished his responsibility and his duty to his legacy and his offspring is appalling. Because this is not against Matthew Knowles. When people say this and the internet co-signs it, it aims and it targets black fathers worldwide. Now I know some people might say, "Oh man, you're reaching." How can saying that target black men or black fathers worldwide? Because it does. Because it does. Because already, if you go back into this channel and we talk about the black male image, one of those most damaging images is that we as fathers are failures. And even when you take a successful father figure like Matthew Knowles, somehow he is also a failure because he let some man come in and groom his daughter and take her upon without her goodwill and good consent. But we can find pictures with Solange sitting next to Jay-Z. We can find pictures with Tina Knowles next to Jay-Z. We can find pictures with Matthew Knowles around Jay-Z. So while Jay-Z was grooming Beyonce, her sister, her mother, her father, family, friends, they all just sat idly by. No one has brought any of these things out. Right? So it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And if people just take the time to think about it, we have to call into question what we are condemning and what we are putting on people is speculation. Now, did the guy groom her? I don't know. But to say that he did or he didn't from where I'm sitting would be retarded because you don't know. And that's the point. We bring out things that we don't know and we make them some type of absolute, and then we put this stuff out here and we don't understand the consequences and the repercussions of what we're supporting. And when you're saying Matthew Knowles dropped the ball, and we're seeing the product of Matthew Knowles out here flourishing, something does not add up. That doesn't make good sense. Right? So, when we go back to Marcus Houston, let's go back to Marcus Houston because, all of this, all right? Well, let's go back to this comment where the woman says, "Hey, man, get over it. They have been married for years and years. They have 3 kids together." This man married Beyonce. Okay, he married her. He did not smut her out. He did not pass her around. He did not do anything like that. He treated it with integrity. He married her. He elevated her life. She is now a billionaire, largely due to being with him. They have 3 children together. 3 children that they're raising in a 2-parent household together. In a time where black families, traditional black nuclear families, are at its all-time low. You have 2 of our most high-profile black individuals, wrong, right, or indifferent, showing the biggest promotion that you can ever do is literally through your action, showing a solid nuclear black family, and you people run to the comments and find a way to diminish that, to find a way to throw some type of negativity into that. That's insane to me. Yes, this war between men and women and the double standards, man. Listen, that the double standards has been around forever, and they're likely never going to go anywhere. But when we really start looking at what we're endorsing, this gets very, very, very disturbing very quickly. You have a man who married a woman, started a family, a generation of billionaires, and somehow we're going to find something so heinous to pin on him. And by the way, Beyonce is in her 40s. If she felt the way, she has had plenty of time to say that. As a matter of fact, she said the very opposite. She's very public on the love she has for her husband and for her family. And by the way, Beyonce has been with one man for the majority of her adulthood. Let me say that again. Beyonce has been with one man for the majority of her adulthood. That is so much more than many of these critics can say for themselves. She is married and has been with one man for the majority of her adulthood. These are morals and values that is very, very hard to find nowadays. And these things should be celebrated. They should be celebrated. And you have hoes and whores running around criticizing this man marrying her. Baby mothers of all types. No man in sight. No commitment. Criticizing this man and his family. This is crazy. Now let's go to Marcus Houston. Now, Marcus Houston is in a similar boat. Marcus Houston married this girl. He did not smut this girl out. He did not date this girl. He did not put this girl on a rotation of hoes. He married her. He married her, and very much in a similar fashion to Jay-Z, he elevated this woman's life. He elevated her life. He married her, and now they have 2 children, if I'm not mistaken. 2 children. So you have another man who married a woman, started a family, and took the responsibility head on and is living out a great example of leadership and fatherhood and family. These are black people, if you haven't noticed. And you can go on Mia's Instagram. She seems to me to be very happy. And I say seems because I don't know these people. Once again, I don't know any of these people. So I don't know what is and what isn't, but I do know that what we are doing and what we're co-signing is horrible. And we're tearing down this man, calling him a predator, because predators usually, if I'm not mistaken, they don't sit here and marry their victims and raise families with their victims and protect their victims and make sure their victims are consistently elevating to new heights in life. Because that's not what predators do. Predators kill. Predators seek to destroy for consumption. And these women do not look consumed to me. They look like they are flourishing. More than I can say about some of these criticizers, male and females alike. So when we talk about this is extremely predatory and we're calling this man a predator, do you understand that his son and daughter will be of age at some point? They will be able to read at some point. They will be able to hear you people at some point. And then the image of a man marrying a woman and having children will have a negative connotation attached to it. Which, by the way, it already does. Which, by the way, it already does. So what are we really condoning? When we're backing this and yeah, you right, and we giving likes to this shit. Excuse my language. What are we really saying? So Drea Michelle, let's get back to her. Now, Drea Michelle has her own take on family. She has her own take on family, and I'm not going to put words in this woman's mouth. We'll let her tell you what her take on family is.
Do you want any more kids, or are you done?
Oh yeah, I want more kids.
Like how many?
Like one, I think.
Person you're dating, you see like a future with them?
I think the question you were asking me is if I wanted more kids, and I feel like I want more kids. I feel like the relationship is amazing to have, right? But that's not what I'm basing having a kid on, because
Right.
I'm very non-traditional, and I feel like you can co-parent without being in a relationship. You know, maybe just two people say, hey, you want a kid? I want a kid. Let's just have a kid.
Now, we've heard Drea Michelle and her take on family. She doesn't need a relationship. A relationship is not the basis she uses to have children. A relationship is not the basis she uses to have children. These men married these women and then they had their children. But Drea Michelle says, nah, we don't need all that. All that is unnecessary. If you want a child and I want a child. Jalen Green at 22 years old wanted a child with a Instagram model who's been passed around the league. That's what he wanted. You guys literally sat down and had an intelligent, thoughtful conversation, well planned out conversation for this baby's life. You want me to believe that? Do you want anybody who is intelligent in the world to listen to this and believe that? Come on, man. Let's go to Drea Michelle's Wikipedia, because she says she don't need a relationship for kids. She's non-traditional. She's a free spirit. A free spirit means a hoe. That's what that means. That's what being a free spirit means. You're a hoe. And that's for a man or a woman. Now, let's go to Drea Michelle's personal life. Personal life. She has 2 children, one each with her ex-fiance, and Orlando Skandrick. She is currently dating Jalen Green of the NBA's Houston Rockets and is pregnant by Green. She had children by a man she was not married to. And she's getting ready to have another child by another man that she is not married to. One of her children is the same age as her new baby father. Because Drea Michelle says something on that podcast. She said, if I want a baby and you want a baby. Now, why would she want a baby? What is her motive behind having this baby? Is it to be a caring mother? To actually embrace motherhood and all the things that come with it? I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is. Well, why would I say that? I would say that because you weren't committed enough to provide your first set of children with a solid foundation, which we know is the nuclear family. And outside of that, because you're non-traditional, you are a mother raising children as you showed the world all of your assets. Where either one of these children of yours can go on and see their mother on full display for everyone else. Not only that, there are videos of athletes laughing and joking about their time with you. Not only can Jalen Green hear this, your children can also hear this. Yep. And now you bring a young man who is the same age as your son home to say, I'm having his baby. How does your son feel about that? What type of trauma is he going through with that? What kind of trauma did he have growing up in a broken home? Imagine fellas, your mother came home when you was 20, 21, 22 with one of your peers and say, I'm knocked up by him. How would that make you feel? Come on, man, let's be real about this. Let's be real about this. This is a bigger issue. It's a bigger issue going on here. So now she's pregnant by Jalen Green, who, by the way, is 22 years old, and then they're bringing another bastard child into the mix. Yet another black child out here in a broken home. Perpetuating the baddie baby mother myth. Because if you a baby mother, you're not a baddie at all. So what are we co-signing? Because when we go under Drea Michelle's Wikipedia, let's pull it up again. I don't see any mention of coercion, pedophilia, predatory behavior. I don't see that on her rap sheet like we saw with Marcus Houston. Marcus Houston is in the house every day with his children and wife. I would hope doing his best to hold it down for them. Jay-Z is at home with his wife and his kids every day trying to hold it down for them. But they're predators. They coerced. What man in his right mind gonna coerce to be dealing with all that responsibility? Contrary to popular belief, okay? A man having a family is a huge responsibility. Yes, it's nice, but it is a responsibility, and like any other responsibility, that comes with a heavy cost of energy, time, resource, worry, heartache, stress. What man is going to coerce? What predator goes out to prey on somebody to get responsibility? Come on, man. That don't make good sense. But then you have this woman here who is neglectful of responsibility, self-responsibility, motherly responsibility, community responsibility, And we don't see any of those things describing her in her personal life section. As a matter of fact, if we go to her Instagram, once again, it's either being ignored or she is getting praise for how good she looks during this pregnancy. And you go girl and all of this other madness. Orlando Scandrick is a ex-football player. And what does he say to his kids when they like, damn, my mom over here with doing this, with that, and this? What about the conversations he's had to have with his children throughout the years, man, because of this woman's behavior? So what are we promoting? Predatory preferences. It's okay for one and not okay for the other. And we can put it in terms like this. A predator. If a lion was stalking you, a tiger was stalking you, a bobcat was stalking you, how would you feel? What would you be thinking? You'd be thinking about how to survive, how to get away. That's what you would be thinking. If a lioness was stalking you, a tigress was stalking you, a female bobcat was stalking you, how would you feel? Would you feel less threatened? Or would you be still trying to figure out how to survive and get out of there? It doesn't matter if it's a male or female. A predator is a predator. And if you don't protect yourself and or escape, you will end up being someone's food. And from what I can tell, Jalen Green is food served up. Because what has happened is she has attached herself to this man's NBA money for the next 21 years of her life, which she'll be 60, in her 60s, by the way. And he'll be 40 something. And she'll be attached to that man's assets for the next 21 years. So when she say, I wanted a baby for what? Oh, I see. You can't go get anybody your age out of the league because they're not going to deal with you. We already know that. We know that for how they clowning on the internet about Jalen Green getting you pregnant. Now he got to live with the shame and embarrassment of you know, the guys he look up to looking down at him like, man, you stupid for doing that. So now he's involved with the trauma and the drama. So you can be attached to this man's money for the next 21 years. That's why you wanted the baby. So while Marcus Houston and Jay-Z were looking to have a woman by their side to have a legacy with, you are looking at children as a paycheck. And I don't even want to say that because I don't know. You know what? Let me take that back. I don't know Drea Michelle. But I will say this looks very, very, very bad. And yet society is not saying anything about this. And if they are, they're saying very little about it and is not getting any type of traction. Whereas these men, after years, are still being lambasted for their decisions. And Drea Michelle is far from the only one. She's not the only one. So this is not an attack on her. And Marcus Houston is not the only one. And Jay-Z is not the only one. So this is not a defense campaign for them. These are just prime examples of what our society has become. The decay in it, where we can call good evil and evil good. Where we can look at a wholesome black family and find it to be disgusting in some type of way. To be dishonorable in some type of way. To get on the internet and literally express disgust for this. And then we can get on that same internet and show admiration for this. We can sit here and tear down 3 black fathers all in one fell swoop. Oh, how did Matthew let it happen? Oh, look at Marcus. Oh, Jay-Z, what a bastard. This is ridiculous. And everybody who's pressed the like button on one of those comments ought to be ashamed of themselves. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You either lack the intelligence or lack the moral compass to understand that there is something more sinister going on here. Because who started these narratives? We don't know. But I'll tell you what, they were fed to you. And we know they were fed to you because we just pulled up all the information. Somebody put that there. You didn't write it. I didn't write it. So we really need to check ourselves, man. As we go into this next series on this channel, we really need to challenge ourselves to really open our minds and be objective at certain things and understand what we're co-signing when we open our mouth and what we're not co-signing when we close our mouth, and vice versa. What we are labeling things. These predatory preferences we have. We prefer one predator over another. We're calling people predators who aren't really predators. We're saying people aren't predators who really are predators. And the lines get blurred and then things get extra messy. The lines get blurred and things get extra messy. We have a responsibility every time we get on this internet. You have a responsibility every time you get on the internet, whether you know it, like it, believe it or not. The things that go on in society, you are either making them better or you're making them worse. Or you're remaining neutral, which is possible. But when you co-sign things, you need to be aware of what you're co-signing. Okay? You need to be aware of what you're co-signing. And as we go into our next series, we'll get more in depth with what this culture, this current culture, is really putting out there for us. So we can understand where they really want us to be and how that hurts us. And since our subject matter today was so layered, we have two sponsored scriptures for today's video. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. That's Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. And Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 27. That's Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 27. And that's all I have for you today on Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. This is your host, Jay Is, and I'll catch you next time in the book club.